And the poodle's walking around with Yep. It's gonna pee on Susie.
Okay, Madam Mayor, it's 9:01 and we are live.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the March 14th,
Yes.
or the 14th agenda meeting. Can we have a roll call, please?
Mayor Betty Resch.
Here.
Vice Mayor Sarah Maliga is absent. Commissioner Christopher McVoy.
Here.
Commissioner Mimi May is absent. Commissioner Reynaldo Diaz.
Here.
Okay, great. I have to start by saying that I have to leave here in I've got a court hearing on Zoom, so I have to leave here. I have to meet with my client first, so I'm here for about 10, maybe 15 minutes. So it's going to be a short-lived meeting because we won't have a quorum. Christopher?
Yeah, it's unfortunate we don't have a quorum, we have a quorum, but we don't have very many people here, but and I wonder why I just went off the air. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I do have a couple things. I'm looking for some consensus from colleagues. Yeah, I think we all unanimously agreed that the 25% shared parking reduction is something that we really need to revisit, that's probably not working for us. And I'd like consensus to put that as a discussion on the April 1st meeting and for us to give staff direction on how we want to amend that.
Well, without the other two here, we can talk, and the funny thing is you've always been, I'm interested to hear you say this, Chris, when you said it last week, because you've always been the one that says we don't need so much parking, we should take our bikes, we should use alternate transportation. So I'm curious about it feels like a change in position for you, and I may be wrong, but that's just what it feels like.
Well, Madam Mayor, you've always been consistent in saying that everybody's always going to be driving cars, and
no, I'm not. That's what I'm saying. You've been a little bit different about that. So I'm interested. I'm curious that
it's an amazing thing. Scientists tend to be empirical, so I think we ought to learn from what we've seen at the Mid and some other places that that the argument that just by having a couple of retail places doesn't in any fashion, in real sense, reduce the number of parking you need for your residential part. So
okay, so you've
I'm
had a
just
change of
asking.
heart. I'm glad to hear it. Yeah.
I'm just asking for consensus that we need to get this on the agenda and look at it. I got a couple more things.
Well, slow down. Slow down.
Well, we don't have a lot of time and you have to leave.
Well,
I'm looking for
Chris, would you just let me, Chris? Melissa, what does the agenda look like for April 1st? Do you have any idea yet? I have no objection to talking about it, Chris. I hate loading up her.
You're muted, Melissa.
She didn't say anything.
Well.
Okay, thank you. So right now, because today is actually the deadline to add items.
Oh.
So right now we have a valet parking item. We have a few agreements. And
well, the valet parking kind of goes along with, so why don't we just make it I think, Chris, what we can do is expand that conversation with valet parking, because it's all part of the whole parking issue, I think.
I would label it differently so the public clearly knows that what we're talking about is giving staff direction to revisit this 25% reduction on parking for shared use, that we probably need to tighten up the language. And it's quite different.
Let's have a discussion, but without staff direction. Let's do it as a discussion and see if there is staff direction. So let's do it that way.
So, Madam Mayor, I can change that from valet parking to discussion regarding parking, or parking discussion.
Well, I think it should be more specific.
Valet parking and what? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I interrupted you. I agree with Chris. I think it should be separated. Or
okay, so I'll add a discussion item about the 25% parking reduction?
Yeah,
Right,
and
for
then
shared
then if
use.
we, then Chris, then if we, the two conversations and certainly mail, but then it is more identified, for that.
Yeah. Okay,
My
thank you.
thought.
Let's get that. My second item is the first thing in the contract, or one of the contracts that we're looking at and looking to vote on Tuesday, is a statement that we would be approving that $1 million satisfies W Moda's requirement for parking. And if you do the calculation, that says that their museum, presumably it's only for the museum part, I don't know, is only 40 spaces.
Are
And
you, we can, yeah,
okay, what I need is consensus that before the Tuesday meeting, I would like us to agree that staff do their very best to give an estimate of the range of uses in this museum building, and from that range of uses, what is the number of spaces, parking spaces required? Our code makes it very clear that if you have an institution, i.e. a museum, then you take 30,000 square feet of museum, which is what we agreed to in October, and you multiply it by the number of spaces for institutional. If it's
no,
not true, no, that is how you do the calculation. If it turns out that this, in fact, is not 30,000 square feet of museum, but it's, say, 50% retail and 50% museum, then we need to see that scenario and figure out what the parking requirement for that is. It's also very possible, I've been repeatedly for the last month asking or more, asking for this information very clearly. What is the parking requirement? And what I'm told by staff is, well, it's not possible to say until we get the entitlement agreement. Why would we be agreeing to give W Moda a get out of jail free card for $1 million, which is 40 spaces, and we agree that that satisfies all of their requirements when we don't know how many spaces their project requires? So I'm asking for consensus from all of us here to ask staff to do their very best to give us an estimate of the parking required for the museum, which explicitly says X amount of retail, X amount of institutional, X amount of assembly, whatever it is. And it's perfectly fine to do several scenarios if you don't know exactly what it's going to be, but give us the numbers on that before we
I
vote.
don't agree. I don't agree.
Okay. Okay. I've asked, we'll see where it goes. My third one and last is everybody on this commission in favor of going to paid street parking downtown?
What?
Is everybody on this commission, yes or no, in favor of paid street parking downtown?
That's for a commission meeting. No, I'm sorry. I can't.
Okay, well,
All right, enough. Yeah,
everybody has made it clear in any discussions I've seen that if you have a paid parking garage and free street parking, nobody will use in significant numbers the parking garage, and then your finances for paying it back don't work. And you have a situation of the bohemian of an empty parking garage. So de facto, if we agree that we're approving a parking garage, we are de facto saying that we are going to go to paid street parking. And I just want to make sure we're all clear and the community is clear that that's what our commission's position is. I asked for a scenario that looked at the finances of this parking garage. I asked for several scenarios, one of which is with
I have to
free
go. I just got
street
to,
parking, one of
excuse me,
which is
Chris,
paid street parking.
excuse me. I just got a call from my client for my 9:30. I have to leave. I have a hearing at 9:30, so I have to go talk to my client. I have to leave. I apologize.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Have a good day, everyone. I guess the meeting is over. Ronaldo, take care of yourself. You look like the Piper boy from the Revolutionary War. Take care. Thank you very much, everyone. Bye-bye.
Talk to you later.